I have been in the wide format or large format business my entire professional career. Started with Bruning when they were still Bruning. You know, they were eventually purchased by Osei and then onward and upward. So I became aware of Contex very early on in their existence because I actually was a competitor to them in the business I was in with KIP America. We sold scanners and Contex sold scanners as well. I had no idea how many scanners Contex would sell every year until I came over and began with National AZON. So that business, the distribution business for National AZON, started in 2010. And National AZON had already existed as a company for about 25 years as a media manufacturer. So they purchased a small distribution company back in 2010, brought me aboard, and part of the product line was Contex. And I really was amazed at how quickly we started turning numbers and how we, you know, elevated the sales volume and everything with Contex. It's been a great ride. We've seen a ton of changes just in the short time we've, you know, in a decade we've been distributing the product. But one of our sales reps, Doyle, has been selling Contex product for just about 30 years, I think. And you know, the first scans would take 5 minutes to complete. Now we can complete a scan with an HD Ultra in about half a second. It's amazing what the product line has done, and the R&D that Contex provides to the market. So while there has been quite a few changes and great changes with product line, what's really great is that the personnel has not changed at all. We've been working with the Dans and Steve and Jerry for, you know, over a decade now, and it's they're all accessible, and it's a very flat line, so reaching anybody, getting any support, talking about marketing or product development, anything like that's incredibly simple. We really enjoy the relationship. It's been good. So I think probably there's a lot less eye-to-eye demonstrations of the product. You know, more of that. We've been doing a lot of virtual demonstrations on products, showing especially the camera scanners and a lot of our finishing products to reprographic community. The trends that we've seen throughout COVID have been that, you know, as everyone's well aware, a lot of individuals were forced out to the field, so to speak, to work out of their homes or off satellite locations. So we've seen a big trend in the kind of entry-level scanner sales, if you will. The Contex SD1s have been selling like really, really well over that period of time. But the the larger scanners, the production-based scanners, they've continued to maintain great sales volumes. So that's not necessarily a trend. It's just, you know, thankfully they have continued to sell very well throughout the pandemic, which we're out of now, but sales are still very strong and consistent. Well, I don't think that has changed in the decade or the decades that Contex has been in business. That the need to input hard copy to digital remains. There's a lot of archiving being done. We still sell to a lot of service bureaus. We sell to a lot of print service providers that are taking hard copy images and producing multiple sets of them. Security is a big thing now, that companies want to make sure that they've got all of their old hard copy images secured in case there was a fire or a flood, something like that. So that remains high on the list. And then Contex has also developed new products like the 3D scanners, of course, that fit a different part of the market. And color graphics, you know, scanning in color graphics. The need for color has increased steadily. So the need for color input, certainly engineering and architectural drawings where color has become dominant. And then, as Andrew just pointed out to me, graphic color. Because the scanners the Ultra series does such an incredible job of scanning color. There's no scanner in the world that comes close to it in terms of that market bracket and the selling price. There are some more expensive art scanners out there, but they're a very niche product. Our people, we have a really great sales and support team, and we work together very closely to make it easy for the resellers to resell and offer the product and support the product. The Contex product is just rock solid. I mean, it is so incredibly reliable. The variable may be software, and so if people's PCs aren't configured correctly, or if they don't have the admin rights correct, they'll need us for support. And we take that off most of the resellers' hands and help support the product. So resellers have a lot of confidence in selling the product and knowing they're going to generate revenue on it and not spend an inordinate amount of time supporting the product. So there's a lot of reciprocal selling that goes on. They know Andrew. They know Doyle Cryer, of course, who I had mentioned previously. He's been selling scanners. He you know, I've forgotten more than Doyle knows about. I mean, he has sold a ton. I guess I said that backwards, didn't I? How does it go, Andrew? He's forgotten more than I ever learned. Is that how it goes? Yeah. Doyle is rock solid, and Dave Gainey, Teresa Williams, they've really upped their knowledge level in selling scanners, and so the entire team here, we just work together very closely. And again, on the support side, it works very well with the reseller channel. The Q&A webinars especially have been really helpful. They just dispense a tremendous amount of information, and I've attended all of them and listened very closely to Dan and Jerry when they're running through those things. Yeah, and the amount of knowledge they impart on variables that customers may find within scanning and archiving it's important stuff. And the more we do, the larger the population is for the webinar. So I hope we continue to do those. They're helpful. We offer certainly training and installation. We rarely do it. We will sometimes get customers that actually require it maybe on their first sale, something like that. We'll do it on a pay-for basis. But we've also done, I think, a great job in providing a lot of videos that we have up on our website under the support tab that show customers how to install software, how to run the software, how to calibrate scanners, how to change glass on scanners. All the day-to-day necessary things we've produced videos for. And that takes a burden off of the resellers. It also takes a burden off of our inbound phone calls and things. We can point people to the website and take care of them like that. So that won't change. That'll only get better. Everything's kind of on a month-to-month basis. The product sales are consistent and growing. So over the past year, we've increased sales, which is tough to do in a pandemic, of course. So first of all, I look at everything from that side, from the sales and monetary side. So I'm very hopeful that continues in the trajectory that it's going now. The product will work more flawlessly because it'll be installed easier and better. We've sold a lot more PCs that have preloaded software on them, which has taken support calls down to a minimum for initial installations. Contex will continue to do R&D and develop product line. I think that the software will get better. The software is already, there's no one in the business that can touch what Contex does with Nextimage. It's head and shoulders above everything else out there. But that will only improve. And then I know that there's going to be some new and very exciting product introductions within the next 12 months. So I'm greatly looking forward to those, and I don't want to tip the hat of that, but it's something that's going to be new and very exciting for Contex. For any print service provider or scanning archive service bureau, their biggest challenge is labor. The input, getting a stack of originals input into the scanner takes time. And we have taken measures and made developments to save them time. So, and the biggest factor there is the zero-turn stacking system that we've developed. And that saves upwards of 300% of time. So obviously time is money, labor is money. If they can get those images input into the Contex scanner, into their hardware system faster, the zero turn will help them do that, and it saves them time and money. Well, I think we've been selling it for about 3 years now, and we've sold quite a few of them, and a lot of them into print service providers and scanning archive service bureaus, again, because of the time it saves. You've got somebody standing in front of a scanner all day feeding it. It's a lot of labor expense, and this saves labor expense. Customers did step forward and I asked kind of the age-old question, how can I reduce my labor? and our sharp people saw what they could do with a finishing device and built a prototype, and from there finished it. And the product has been very well accepted by the marketplace. We love Contex. It's a fantastic product line. It's rock solid. It returns steady revenues for us, steady and increasing revenues for us. We like working with everyone at Contex. As I mentioned earlier, it's a very flat line. I can call Steve or Jerry anytime and get them on the phone and discuss anything with them. We have a great relationship with Denmark. We've been over there a number of times to meet with Jakob and his team. Hi, Jakob. Hope you're doing well. Everything. It's a very nice complementary circle. It's a very symbiotic relationship. Strong R&D is constantly returning a great product for them to resell. They like National AZON because they know, once again, it's flatline. We're very accessible. They know we're going to help them and support them with Contex over our right shoulder helping us. So the dealers have developed a great deal of confidence in the product line. They know that it returns good revenue for them on a resale basis, and they are very trusting in the National AZON Contex relationship, that they know the product will be supported in the field. They have very few problems with them, frankly. So we've got customers that might have a scanner and it works perfectly, but the newer models are 2 or 3 times as fast, or their color fidelity is better. They read a better gamut. They take less maintenance because almost everything's driven by LED lights now versus the older fluorescent technology, and those bulbs were expensive. So again, their scanner might be running just fine. They just want the newer version of it. They lots of times go to the Contex website and fill out a quick form. Those leads come over to us. We push it down to our reseller channel, and they immediately contact the customer and start the technology and financial discussion. And those, we have so many customers that are on their 4th, 5th Contex scanners. They wouldn't think of changing to another brand. The product has been so reliable and worked so well in their office environment that they wouldn't think of moving away. And on our website, we have support videos. We've also started a certified operator program so that we can ensure that there is at least one person responsible for that scanner that's trained on the software and hardware, knows how to change glass and replace rollers if need be, and knows all the ins and outs of the software. It makes the support of the product much, much easier for everyone involved. They contact us, and we just put them through a really simple little program, and then we keep their name in a database. When a support call is made, we connect that name with a support call, and basically it just streamlines the support of the scanner and of scanning operations quite a bit. What does certification take, Andrew?
No, it's an online class.
Yeah, it's right.
An online training class.
It's a couple hours, right? At most. Yeah, it's less than a couple hours. But their experience with the software, it's just like learning Photoshop, for instance. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of tricks. There's a lot of nuances, and so that's just getting the experience under your belt. I'll say again, Nextimage is just a tremendous product. There's only a few other pieces of software that you would use exclusively to scan wide format. Some people want to try to use Photoshop, but it's incredibly slow and really doesn't have the right tools for wide format scanning. There's a couple other competitive products out there, but the Nextimage product is just so inclusive and versatile that it does so much more than all the other products. And there is another product out there made by one of our competitors. I've used it before, and I don't know how anyone can run that software on a day-to-day basis. It's just clunky, and you have to go to 6 different screens to get one thing accomplished. And Contex is very streamlined and well thought out and logical to get what you need done. Over the last decade, we have sold to just tons of household names. We've sold to the federal government, just about every branch. We've sold to all the military branches. We've sold to Pfizer and Livermore Labs. We've Nike, utility companies like Commonwealth Edison and PG&E. We've sold to Target stores. We've sold, who else? Who?
Industrial Light and Magic.
Oh, Industrial Light and Magic. That's a big one.
That's a big one.
Right? That's a big one. We sold to the Bob Dylan Museum, Gibson Guitars, companies that you would think would never need wide format scanning. Bob Dylan Museum, for instance, was to scan color artifacts. We're really proud of the end user list we have put together over 10 years of time, and proud that our resellers have done such a good job getting into these places. We've got a lot of new customers too, because people are scanning in all sorts of stuff these days. We just sold a scanner to a company that makes wallpaper, and they create custom designs and scan those in to produce to generate production based on that. So there's always something new that we're learning that wide format scanners can do. So you got the existing customer base out there, and then all the new stuff that we're adding on. We were talking about this just recently, and Doyle, our lead salesperson and resident expert on scanners, he claims that he says that about 70% of hard copy images are now computer generated, which floored me, because I would think that it would be kind of an even split between hand-drawn old engineering and architectural drawings and current digitized or digital images. But no, he claims it's much higher percent than that. So there still is the need to distribute documents and to collaborate across the country or across the city. And so digitized or digitally made input is still very important, and I guess growing. Color graphics and artifacts, and like the Bob Dylan Museum that we mentioned. Right now it's kind of a vertical, but I think that that'll spread out over the course of time, and as we add different features to the scanners and better color fidelity. The cameras that are in the Contex Ultra X scanners now are just, once again, head and shoulders above anything else the competition produces. It's an IQ Flex, so that was a desktop wide format scanner. That's an interesting product too. We've been selling a lot more of those lately to these specialty applications. Like I mentioned, wallpaper. We've sold them to furniture companies for scanning in their fabric designs, applications like that. So that's been a great product for us, increasing in sales. I wish we could get the revenue Doyle got 30 years ago for the scanners. They were like $25,000, $30,000, and everything, of course, was a camera scanner back then. And I'd mentioned earlier, they were slow as molasses, but they were incredible technology that's advanced ever since. So the price of the product has done just like a computer. It's dropped down in price as the technology becomes more refined. It's the old pencil selling thing. You amateurize it over a period of time, and yes, it makes a wide format scanner much more accessible to smaller municipalities, smaller manufacturing companies that in the past would send out for scans. Now they can afford to have a scanner in their shop. I mean, for basic scanning, certainly. It's if you're just doing like black and white engineering drawings, getting those into pushing them through Nextimage, getting them into a database and naming them, the naming conventions and everything. It's very simplistic. You want to get into higher level things when you're doing color balancing or raster editing, that type of thing. That's more of something that will take experience and an effort back and forth, trial and error, I guess, if you will. There's great features in the software for that, and we point that out to all the users. They can, if they've got a particular type of image that's very problematic for them to scan, they get their settings set and then they save it. And each time they want to scan an image like that, they just grab those settings again. It's one click. So for service bureaus especially, print service providers, that's an incredibly important feature in the software. Saves them time. If they're paying people to feed the scanners, right, and the faster they can input that hard copy image into digital format, it's money. Labor savings. It's important. And it also has to do with operator fatigue as well. You're standing in front of a scanner for hours on end, and this limits the range of movement that they have to perform, and there's less fatigue then involved in it, and scanning more in a particular period of time, so the labor savings drop, or the labor savings increase, the labor cost drops. our resellers do an excellent job of ferreting out those opportunities, right? So I think that's pretty well balanced in terms of we get a lot of people that just reach over the fence and contact us or go direct to Contex because they know they need a scanner. But then there's also the other side of it where there is much more selling involved, showing somebody what the scanner will do and convincing them that it's going to be a productive tool for them. And that's our network of resellers, which we're very proud to have developed over this past decade. And it's a good, solid, reliable network of resellers. Contex brings a smile to our faces. As distributors, it really is a tremendous product to have. We get them in, we ship them out the door, there's very little support on it. Contex is great to work with. You know, we're very pleased to be. I think we're Contex's largest distributor in the world. It's been a decade already. It's actually been a little bit over that. I cannot believe how quickly the time has flown by and how many thousands of scanners we've pushed out the door here, you know? So, very pleased with it, pleased with the relationship, pleased with the product line, and we're looking forward to the next decade.